Hey everyone! Welcome back to Tech Reviews, your go-to spot for the latest and greatest in tech. Today, we're counting down the top 9 best Android phones you need to check out in 2025. Whether you want power, camera, or value, this list has something for you. So, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's dive right in. We've tested the best Android phones available right now, including Samsung, Google, OnePlus, and more. The best Android phone to come out this year was one of the first, the Galaxy S25 Ultra. And while it set a high standard for everything else that's come along in 2025, Android device makers are up to the task, with several compelling challengers at a wide range of prices. That's important because Samsung's premium phone commands an equally lofty price. When you put that long-lasting battery or that powerful camera array to the test, you'll feel like you're getting your money's worth. But if $1,299 is too much to spend, try the Galaxy S25 instead. It supports the same Galaxy AI features as the Ultra, but costs $500 less. There's also the Galaxy S25 Edge, which could shake up this list once it's properly tested with its ultra-thin design, flagship features, and slightly less $1,099 starting cost. True bargain hunters should jump on one of the newer entries to our best Android phones list, the Google Pixel 9a. It's a great performing camera phone that costs less than $500, and it's got a lot of the same AI features as the rest of the Pixel 9 lineup. And if it's AI you want, those Google flagships offer the most robust features out there. All of these picks are based on testing done by me and the rest of the phone's team at Tom's Guide. Combined, we've got decades of experience looking at phones, so we know what can separate a good Android phone from a great one. Read on to find out which Android phones impress me and my colleagues the most after our extensive testing and head-to-head comparisons. Number 1 phone name, Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. On paper, only a few specs separate the Galaxy S25 Ultra from its predecessor, the Galaxy S24 Ultra. There's a new Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset powering Samsung's latest premium phone, and it's been optimized specifically for the Galaxy S25 lineup. That helps the Ultra produce some of the best results on speed and graphics tests of any Android phone that we've seen, outside of the gaming-focused Asus ROG Phone 9 Pro. Improved power efficiency also helps the S25 Ultra surpass the S24 Ultra's impressive time on our battery life test by around half an hour, making this the longest-lasting Samsung phone we've ever seen. But what impressed me when looking at the latest Samsung phones, including the S25 Ultra, is the new Galaxy AI features. They introduce a new level to AI on the smartphone by enabling things like cross-app actions, as demonstrated by my colleague Richard Priday. When he spent some time with the Galaxy S25 Ultra, you can look up a place online, text the address to a friend, and get directions for yourself, all while using just one spoken command to the Gemini assistant on board the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Richard was less impressed with the Now Brief feature that's supposed to draw on your activities and interests to bring personalized and relevant information to a dedicated screen on your Samsung device. That's sort of by design, though. Samsung is using an on-device personal data engine to note how you use the phone. Over time, those Now Brief suggestions are supposed to draw on that knowledge. We'll eventually find out how effective that is, but for now, it remains a work in progress. I haven't shot photos with the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but I have seen the finished results and the impact of an upgraded ProVisual engine in processing images. Past Samsung camera phones have erred on the side of garish colors. But things look a lot less saturated in our initial Galaxy S25 Ultra versus iPhone 16 Pro camera comparisons. So much so that I think Samsung has toppled Apple's top device as the best camera phone. An upgraded ultra-wide lens helps the Samsung phone with more detailed macro shots, too. I'm not a fan of the lack of Bluetooth connectivity on the S Pen, though apparently it was done with an eye towards slimming down this year's model. But I do like the brighter display and upgrades to existing Galaxy AI features. Samsung's not reinventing the wheel with the Galaxy S25 Ultra, but it's certainly advancing the phone just on the AI additions and enhancements alone. Number 2 phone name, Google Pixel 9a. The Google Pixel 9a takes everything we loved about the Google Pixel 8a and beefs it up to 11, all without changing the $499 price. That means you're getting a bigger display, as well as the new Tensor G4 chip and AI features, all for the same cost. In many ways, the Google Pixel 9a is both comparable to and an improvement over the Google Pixel 9. For instance, while the display on the 9a isn't quite as bright, it offers much more color accuracy than the more expensive flagship. Not only that, the Pixel 9a also manages to draw nearly as much power from the Tensor G4 chip as the older model. While the iconic camera bar is indeed gone from the new model's design, the Pixel 9a cameras perform impressively. The phone comes with an uncomplicated 48MP main camera with a 13MP ultrawide. Now, that might seem like a downgrade over the 64MP main camera offered by the Pixel 8a, but that isn't the case. See, the Pixel 9a features a wider aperture on its main camera, which means you'll get sharper images, especially in darker conditions. You also gain a new macro focus mode that uses AI to enhance close-up photos. Google Pixel 9a also brings a new night sight feature, a first for the series, which inherently adds a proper astrophotography mode. John Velasco's Pixel 9a versus iPhone 16e camera face-off shows why the Pixel is the best mid-range camera option, and Tom Pritchard demonstrated how the Pixel 9a's camera improves upon the Pixel 8a. Our review of the $399 Galaxy A36 also demonstrates just how far ahead the Pixel 9a's cameras are compared to other cheap phones. The low-light photos it shoots are no match for Samsung's mid-range handset. Finally, the amount of AI features you're getting access to for this cost is nothing short of fantastic. For instance, you're getting access to Google Gemini, as well as deep research. Call notes and pixel screenshots are MIA from the Pixel 9a as this model doesn't have enough RAM, a robust version of Gemini Nano to power those two specific capabilities. Thanks to the latest Pixel Drop update, you can now access the Pixel 9a's camera with Gemini Live. Number 3 phone name, Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. As impressive as the new Galaxy AI features on the Galaxy S25 series are, Google continues to offer a dizzying amount of AI features on its flagship phones. And because Google's efforts are a bit more refined, that makes the Pixel 9 Pro XL the AI phone to beat. And yes, that even includes the Pixel 9a, since it doesn't have all the AI features of its flagship counterparts. From the impressively quick image generation with features like Pixel Studio and Reimagine, to the handy note-taking and summarizing abilities of Note Assist, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is the best Android phone that showcases the incredible power of AI. If that's not enough to convince you, the phone receives big upgrades to its display and battery life. It set the record for the brightest screen we've tested at an astonishing peak brightness output of 2,469 nits with its 6.8-inch Super Actua display. Meanwhile, the Tensor G4 chip's power efficiency extends its battery life to a time of 14 hours and 37 minutes, which is much improved over the Pixel 8 Pro's 10 hours and 3 minutes. You're going to pay a bit more for the Pixel 9 Pro XL since it costs $100 more than its predecessor, but all of its AI features could be the incentive for you to make the compromise. Number 4 phone name, OnePlus 13. If you're looking for something that makes the OnePlus 13 stand out from the other Android phones here, look no further than its fast wired charging speeds. After just half an hour of charging in our tests, we got the 6,000 mAh battery on a drained OnePlus 13 to reach 92% of capacity. That's a lot of power in a relatively little amount of time. But focusing solely on the fast charging does this phone a disservice. The OnePlus 13 has a lot of other things going for it as well. This is one of the longest-lasting phones we've ever tested, making the OnePlus 13 great for heavy users. The display is bright as you'd hope, but also features tech to reduce eye strain and make the screen usable even when wet, oily, or when you're wearing gloves. Photography is as good as it's ever been on a OnePlus phone, on the level of Samsung or Google's to my eye. And the company also asks for several $100s to pounds less than the competition if the total price is a concern for you. The main limitations to keep in mind are that you only get a promised 4 years of full software updates, rather than the 7 offered by phones from Samsung and Google, and also that price, while lower than its rivals, is more expensive than previous OnePlus flagships. But in general, I see little reason to pass up the OnePlus 13 if you're willing to look beyond Samsung and Google. Put off by the $899 starting price? Then try the OnePlus 13R instead. I tested this $599 phone and found very few compromises for more expensive Android phones, certainly not in battery life, where the mid-range 13R excels. Number 5 phone name. Nothing Phone 3A Pro. Look for a phone that costs less than $500, and you usually won't have to search too hard to find the compromises a device maker made to keep the costs down. That's not the case with the Nothing Phone 3A Pro, though, as the latest mid-range model from the phone-making startup packs in a staggering amount of premium features, not the least of which is a periscope-style telephoto lens. Dedicated telephoto cameras are practically unheard of for camera phones in this price range, let alone a lens that can deliver a 3x optical zoom. Even better, the images my colleague John Velasco captured when testing the Nothing Phone 3A Pro look sharp and detailed, as the new phone improves its all-around camera performance over last year's model. The Nothing Phone 3A Pro especially stood out when John took low-light photos. The other usual selling points for Nothing phones are on display here. The distinctive look of the phone with its light-up glyphs that serve to alert you to incoming messages is back, and the Nothing Phone 3A lasts a very long time on a charge. Specifically, the Nothing Phone 3A Pro lasted 14.5 hours on our battery test, beating the average smartphone's result by more than 4 hours. The switch to a Snapdragon 7's Gen 3 chipset didn't produce much in the way of performance improvements, which is probably the biggest disappointment with the Nothing Phone 3A Pro. A new essential space feature for storing screenshots and voice memos while using AI to summarize them and turn them into to-dos also feels like a work in progress. But those are just blips in an otherwise stellar package that delivers far more than a $459 phone should. And if you want to save even more, you can turn to the $379 Nothing Phone 3A, which scales back on the telephoto lens, yet continues to offer one. Ultimately, the Pixel 9a offers the more complete package with the way its cameras perform and the polished AI experience Google delivers. But if you want a telephoto lens on a phone that doesn't cost big bucks, the Nothing Phone 3A Pro is the way to go. And that design is pretty eye-catching, too. Number 6 phone name. Nothing Phone 3A Pro. Look for a phone that costs less than $500, and you usually won't have to search too hard to find the compromises a device maker made to keep the costs down. That's not the case with the Nothing Phone 3A Pro, though, as the latest mid-range model from the phone-making startup packs in a staggering amount of premium features, not the least of which is a periscope-style telephoto lens. Dedicated telephoto cameras are practically unheard of for camera phones in this price range, let alone a lens that can deliver a 3x optical zoom. Even better, the images my colleague John Velasco captured when testing the Nothing Phone 3A Pro look sharp and detailed, as the new phone improves its all-around camera performance over last year's model. The Nothing Phone 3A Pro especially stood out when John took low-light photos. The other usual selling points for Nothing phones are on display here. The distinctive look of the phone with its light-up glyphs that serve to alert you to incoming messages is back, and the Nothing Phone 3A lasts a very long time on a charge. Specifically, the Nothing Phone 3A Pro lasted 14.5 hours on our battery test, beating the average smartphone's result by more than 4 hours. The switch to a Snapdragon 7's Gen 3 chipset didn't produce much in the way of performance improvements, which is probably the biggest disappointment with the Nothing Phone 3A Pro. A new essential space feature for storing screenshots and voice memos while using AI to summarize them and turn them into to-dos also feels like a work in progress. But those are just blips in an otherwise stellar package that delivers far more than a $459 phone should. And if you want to save even more, you can turn to the $379 Nothing Phone 3A, which scales back on the telephoto lens, yet continues to offer one. Ultimately, the Pixel 9a offers the more complete package with the way its cameras perform and the polished AI experience Google delivers. But if you want a telephoto lens on a phone that doesn't cost big bucks, the Nothing Phone 3A Pro is the way to go. And that design is pretty eye-catching, too. Number 7 phone name. Google Pixel 9. Sitting between the Pixel 9a and Google's Pro flagships is the Pixel 9, which offers the right blend of features and affordability, even if it does cost more than the Pixel 8 that came before it. Number 8 phone name. Samsung Galaxy S25. The Galaxy S25 isn't Samsung's fanciest flagship. That would be the Galaxy S25 Ultra, which leads these best Android phone rankings. Yet, by its lower price, more people are likely to purchase the $799 Galaxy S25 over the $1,299 Ultra. And I think when they do, they'll be quite pleased with the purchase, and not just because of that extra $500 they get to hold on to. To be fair, not everyone's going to want to upgrade to the Galaxy S25. The phone specs are too similar to the Galaxy S24 and even the Galaxy S23 to deliver noticeable performance upgrades, even with a much faster Snapdragon 8 Elite chip optimized for this particular model. The biggest gain from the Snapdragon Silicon comes with the Galaxy S25's battery life. While this year's phone has the same size battery as the S24, it lasted around 2 hours longer on our battery test, a testament to the power management features of the Snapdragon 8 Elite. People upgrading from older Samsung flagships will be more likely to appreciate those gains. But what you like is the value. The same Galaxy AI features on the S25 Ultra are all accounted for on this much less expensive flagship. That includes advanced capabilities like cross-app actions that let you interact with multiple apps in one command and improvements to circle to search, my favorite addition to the Galaxy AI tools from last year. The Galaxy S25 also takes better pictures in my estimation, even with the same hardware specs as the last 2 entry-level Samsung flagships. That's likely because Samsung tweaked the ProVisual engine on this year's models, resulting in truer colors and better performance in low light. The 3x zoom lens on the S25 trails the 5x capabilities found on other phones from Apple and Google, but then again, those phone makers don't have a device with a telephoto camera for less than $800 like Samsung does. Between the Galaxy AI capabilities, camera features, and longer battery life, that's a lot of value packed into the Galaxy S25 before we even talk about its brighter screen. If you don't mind a compact 6.2-inch phone, this Samsung model is the easiest on your budget of the new Galaxy flagships. Number 9 phone name. OnePlus Open. Competition started picking up a couple of years back, and from that more crowded field, the OnePlus Open emerged by going big. Its cover display and interior screen are the largest out there for notebook-style foldables, and it boasts the best battery life of any foldable, too. Even the built-in storage, 512 gigabytes, is more than you may be used to. Cameras are the weakest part of the phone, especially when stacked up against the superior camera output produced by the Galaxy Z Fold 5. While the more recent Galaxy Z Fold 6 narrows the gap, we still would recommend the OnePlus Open over Samsung's foldable. About the only thing OnePlus didn't supersize is the price of the OnePlus. At $1,699, it's $200 less than the Galaxy Z Fold 6 and $100 cheaper than the Pixel Fold. Maybe that's not a big difference, but it gives the OnePlus Open an edge that its impressive specs and feature set take advantage of. 4 years of software support plus another year of security updates should help your OnePlus Open stay current. In the camera department, it impresses with its improved performance in our 200-photo shootout between the OnePlus Open and Galaxy Z Fold 6. Additionally, a variant of the phone, the Apex Edition, offers a more sophisticated vegan leather casing with more storage and RAM. It looks like we're not getting a OnePlus Open 2 this year, as OnePlus re-examines what it's doing in the foldable space. That's potentially bad news for the state of the foldable phone industry, but perhaps the rumored Galaxy Z Fold 7 can shake things up when Samsung releases this upcoming phone in a few months. Number 9 phone name. Motorola Razr Ultra, 2025. Price has always been a key benefit of Motorola's Razr foldables, offering a lot of great qualities for less than rivals like the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6. The Razer Ultrabucks that trend by costing $1,299, but the trade-off is that you're getting a significantly more powerful phone than the Motorola Razr Plus 2025. You get the latest and most powerful Qualcomm chipset, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, plus a massive boost in RAM and storage space. All those things are going to be especially important if you want to take advantage of the new Moto AI that comes running right out of the box. The rear cameras are much the same, though Motorola has opted for a secondary ultra-wide lens instead of a telephoto shooter. The front camera also gets a resolution boost and is capable of snapping 50MP pictures. Battery life is noticeably more impressive as well, with the larger 4,700 mAh battery lasting almost 19 hours in our custom battery test. Not only does that score it a list on our best phone battery life page, it's also the best foldable battery life we've seen so far. While we still don't know what Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip 7 or Galaxy Z Flip FE will offer when they arrive later this year, the Razer Ultra 2025 has set a very high bar. Still, considering the higher price tag, you may want to wait until the summer to see what Samsung has to offer. The first place to start when shopping for the best Android phone for you is your budget, and there are a few tiers. The cheapest Android phones cost under $200 and offer mostly the basics for using apps, taking pictures, and staying connected. We chart the best cheap phones under $300, though honestly you'll make a lot of compromises to get a phone priced that low. As you move up to under $450, you'll find more compelling handsets, touting better processors, higher-grade materials, and more camera lenses. Right now, the best value phone on our list is the Pixel 8a. The OnePlus 13R at $599 is a little more expensive, but still cheaper than flagship devices. Our main guide to the best cheap phones for less than $500 goes into greater depth on these devices. Jump into the $700 and up range, and the best phones offer flagship caliber performance along with cutting-edge computational photography and special features. You'll start to see features like telephoto lenses appear at this level of phone. The most premium Android phones offer foldable designs and big price tags. The Motorola Razr Plus joins the Galaxy Z Flip 6 on the cheap end of foldable phones with a $999 starting price. The best foldable phone is the OnePlus Open, which starts at $1,699, while the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 will set you back at least $1,799 and $1,899, respectively. What you look for in the best Android phone also depends on what you plan to use your handset for. To that end, for mobile gaming, make sure you're getting a phone with a top-performing processor. As of this writing, that would be the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, though any recent Snapdragon 8 series system on chip would do the trick. Good gaming phones also have lots of RAM, at least 8 GB, and a display that ramps up the refresh rate to at least 120 Hz for smoother graphics. A phone with a long battery life won't die on you mid-session either. For mobile productivity, as with gaming, a fast processor is helpful, and you'll want a phone with lots of storage capacity. Bigger screens are usually more helpful for performing tasks on the go, which is why foldable phones and their extended screens are of interest here. Foldable phones also have unique multitasking features that let you run multiple apps at once. For mobile photography, nearly every phone will offer a main camera plus an ultra-wide shooter, but more expensive models also tend to include telephoto lenses. Just as important as the camera hardware is the software. Check out what kind of computational photography features a phone might have. Google's Pixels excel in this area, but Samsung and OnePlus also perform well. The same method we use to test the best phones applies to the dozen or so Android phones we evaluate each year. Every smartphone Tom's Guide evaluates is tested for several days in real-world use cases and benchmarked with a gamut of performance measuring apps. In terms of performance, we used Geekbench 5 to measure overall speed and 3D Mark Wildlife to measure graphics performance. We also use our own video editing test in the Adobe Premiere Rush app to see how long it takes to transcode a clip, which we run on both Android phones and iPhone to compare performance. This test is not always available for all phones we test due to app compatibility issues. To measure the quality of a phone's display, we perform lab tests to determine the brightness of the panel in nits, as well as how colorful each screen is, DCI, P3 color gamut. In these cases, higher numbers are better. We also measure color accuracy of each panel with a Delta E rating, where lower numbers are better and a score of 0 is perfect. Last but not least, we take the best phones out in the field to take photos outdoors, indoors, and at night in low light to see how they perform versus their closest competitors. We take shots of landscapes, food, portraits, and more, and also allow you to be the judge with side-by-side comparisons in our reviews and 200-photo head-to-head shootouts. Thanks for watching. Which Android phone from our top 9 list is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to TechReviews Reviews for more honest and detailed tech reviews. Until next time, stay tech savvy.